Right, let's bring in the first of our guests now. Fletcher is a social commentator and futurist. Morning, Mal.
Morning, Chris.
Uh, do you recognise that bedroom? Have you been through that? Did you have a bedroom like that, or your kids?
Well, at times my kids did, but I wouldn't take an ad in the newspaper to display it, and that's essentially what we're doing if we're embarrassing our children. Social media is not a private conversation, is it? It's a public interface, and I think there are several ethical parameters that are important here. One of them is the issue of security. We do face challenges getting teenagers in particular to build proper boundaries around their online presence today. I don't know if it's a good idea to compound the problem by uploading material that not only is embarrassing, but in some cases potentially harmful because of the risk of online fraud or identity theft.
So, very strong point there on the just the fact the use of social media, and I think that's a very valuable thing to say. But what about that kind of can I call it battleground, but between parent and kid? And the kids kind of it seems sometimes that they're trying to provoke the parent with the bedroom like that. So, how does the parent respond? Or do they respond?
Well, I think respond is the operative word, Chris, a good word for it, rather than react. I think that parents have to rise above the level of the teenager they're trying to discipline. And there's the principle here, too, of reciprocity, isn't there? Am I sending out messages on things like social media that I wouldn't want sent about me at their age? I mean, teens are prone to experiment with certain types of behaviour, that help them develop their sense of identity. What might eventually prove to be a temporary experiment shouldn't become a permanent part of their online story. So the question for me as a parent is, what embarrassing things was I doing at that age that I wouldn't want my current friends or colleagues to access?
And actually, you take it to its extreme. Maybe the kids could start posting pictures of whatever it is, the wine glass in the living room of a night, or the piles of beer cans in the bin, or the curry, whatever it is the parent does, which, is less than ideal, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't like it. And I think there's the principle ethically here of what we call maturescence, the act of reaching maturity. And the fact that teens publish embarrassing information about themselves online, which they often do, doesn't mean that we have an open slather to do the same thing about them, does it? We're there to provide a maturity model for the child, to go one step better than them. It's my job to reflect, and I make mistakes as a parent, but as much as I humanly can, the best ways of handling certain situations.
So those that are doing this, and in fact we'll have some on the show a bit later on, who are shaming their kids, it's them that need ticking off. Is that your view?
Well, I wouldn't say ticking off, but I don't think embarrassment's not the best. Public embarrassment, public shaming is not the best way of disciplining a child. And let's remember too, Chris, that some young people who've reached the age of legal adulthood haven't yet reached the point of full emotional maturity. Yeah. So what I think is relatively trivial to put up online might not be so trivial to them.
But how do you get a kid to pay attention? Isn't this is what the shaming's all about, isn't it? Otherwise, it's kind of the bedroom's the hidden secret, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it is. I think that this is a problem that parents have had for aeons, isn't it? It well predates social media. And I'm just saying that the use of social media, which is a public medium, not a private conversation, is not a particularly helpful way of disciplining a child. I think it's better to build relationship over time and then just say, here are the boundaries. You're under my roof. If you cross those boundaries, there are certain consequences.
Mal, thank you so much. Mal Fletcher, social commentator there with his view on it all. Don't do it is his answer. What do you make of it?